And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The List, your comic book hunting guide here on the Comic Core channel. I'm John of John's Comics with Kids, probably the only person whose link to their channel is not listed down below in the description for this because I'm a moron and I'm thinking more about all the panelists that I have on the show regularly. Usually I have a huge list of panelists because there's a lot of awesome people in this community who join us here on The List regularly.
But this week you're stuck with me.
But this week I was paring it down to have a smaller core group. Sadly, Mr. Tony Sanders had to work tonight. We are going to miss him greatly, and we will catch him next time for sure. But I have, firstly, WhoDat, the empty chair. Just going to show you the empty chair real quick. Then Alec, the empty shirt. Ha ha! Burn.
I got it. Hi, my name's Alec. I'm from Alec's Comics Sans Kids.
And congrats, Alex. He is now officially monetized. His channel, 1,000 subscribers plus, and YouTube has officially selected him as acceptable for monetization. So clearly their priorities are askew.
Yeah, they did not watch the Faithless episode.
Yeah, right. That was thankfully not on my channel. I want to thank the tailgaters, the immortal Biggie Shack and Chris Barrett, always early in the chat. I think even Caleb was in there early, but I think if you're in there before the 30-minute mark, they throw you out. They throw your comments out. Mr. Gretzky was in there early. Discovery Bay, he is at 965 subscribers. We need him to get 35 more so that he gets over 1,000 because he is certainly due with all the hard work he puts in. Comic Man Andy is in here, and he dropped a hysterical comment about the Bueller bump, which is supposedly the shout-out he gives you that pushes you over the top. And he made some joke that said, what is the Bueller bump? Is it something he does with his belly and a beer? Burn.
Bueller bump worked for me. That's how
it
I
did.
got it. Yeah.
Bueller says he's having dinner with his mom, but he wanted to stop by and wish us a great evening. Thank you very much, sir, for coming by. Much appreciated. Take the Time Collectibles, DS Comics, one of the golden guys. Thank you for coming by. No one is in the chat. Knights of Old, hello. Let's see here. Did I miss anybody else? Jack Yo and Dre Boogie, thank you for coming by. And welcome in, everybody. And WhoDat is here now. He's not the empty chair. Thank you for coming by, sir.
How you doing? How's everybody doing? I just said hello to everybody in the chat. Yes.
And Big O, thank you for coming by as well. So the point of The List, this is a show that really I sort of came up with as a desire to answer some questions about collecting, about how people plan for collecting. And it's really just, for me, I feel like it's one of the more informative shows that I work on because most of the shows, let's just be honest, I'm just being a jackass with usually that guy with the beard. So, yeah. So it's nice to have a show.
Bring out the worst in people.
Yeah. It's nice to have a show every once in a while where you're learning a little something about your collecting. I've linked down below the previous episodes we've done. You can check those out. I think they're really valuable. Tonight, we're doing a speculation spectacular special. We're really looking at what is speculation, what does it do to collecting, and what does it do to this industry. We all have some, I think, very intense feelings about speculation, and I thought it would be kind of fun to sort of crack this all open and really get into it. First off, I guess we could define speculation a little bit because speculation occurs in stock markets, it occurs in real estate, it occurs in comic books. It's just this idea of guessing where a market is going to go and then trying to make money by buying low, selling high based on your guesswork. So my basic first question, and I know where Alex stands, so I'm going to go to WhoDat first on this, is do you think speculation is bad for comic book collecting?
I think it's a double-edged sword, honestly, and that's probably like people are like, oh, that's just a cop-out answer. But no, it really is. Speculation helps the market as far as getting new collectors. Sometimes it gets new collectors into it. They might have to pay a little bit more for certain books, but if they don't have those books in the area, that's what happens. You know, like certain things you might be looking at, the key books or variants or whatever have you. You don't have it in your area, you might have to pay more to get it. But I think it helps get more people in it, and it also kind of hurts people who've been in the comic book not industry, but as far as collecting for a long time, because they might get discouraged when you see something going for a lot. You know what I mean? Like that, you're like, oh, that book just came out. It shouldn't be $15.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, it helps and hurts. For me personally, it does neither, because I'm already in collecting. And it doesn't discourage me. It'll discourage me from getting that book if I can't find it for cover price if it just came out. I'm not gonna, be like, I'm not gonna order it online, but it's if I can find it at a shop and I know it's a hot book, I usually get one copy and keep the rest on there for other people. Or I might get 2 copies if I know it's a really hot book and keep one out I never open and just read the other one. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of times that's what I do. I usually keep 2 and I don't even sell them a lot of times. I usually keep them, and then after they get hot, like a year or 2 later, then I'll sell it. And I'm like,
I think you're right. I think it's not ever going to be, and nothing is ever really just black and white. I think that there's definitely layers to it. It's not as simple as good or bad. I think it can be done in negative and positive ways. Alec, what do you think about, is speculation bad for comic book collecting?
I want to shout out a comment real quick. Rag78 said speculating is not investing, which I think is totally true, because you invest in something like a Hulk 181. You invest in something that is a known commodity. When you speculate, it's a guess. So it's more of a gamble. It's more of it can be well-informed speculation.
You could speculate kind of on those older stuff, but it's not, like you said, more still of an investment at the end of the day, because since Marvel owns a lot of characters now, like Disney, Marvel, now they own majority of the stuff. So you can buy a Hulk 181 and speculate when they makes that announcement is going to do like, was it Tomb of Dracula 10? It's going to go crazy, sell crazy. So you kind of could do a little, but it's only for those books like that. I would say you could kind of speculate, but it's still an investment, because it goes up. What are those Hulk 181s? Go up like 10% for whatever it is percentage every year. But once they make an announcement, Disney, it's gonna skyrocket.
So Alec, are you saying that no, sorry, let me finish. You finish what you were saying.
Yeah. This is gonna sound kind of ass backwards, but I think speculating is good for the comic market. Speculators are bad for it, because like WhoDat said, he may be the polite one who goes into a shop and sees a hot book and buys 1 copy, but for every one of him, there's 10 guys who are going to go in and try to buy every copy. Because like last week or whenever Captain Marvel 8 came out, I was at the shop at 10:20 and it was sold out. And I know it's not a heavily ordered book, but I guarantee some schmuck came in there and saw it and knew it was selling for $15 and thought, oh, I can make $40 real quick. And like, is it really worth it? But speculating itself, I think, kind of, for me, gets a bad rap, and maybe we can talk about that more later. Because I think for me, it's more than saying this book coming out this week could be hot. It does bring a certain excitement, even to Wednesdays. It brings a certain excitement to thinking, ooh, when I picked up the last issue of Walking Dead and all of a sudden it was a $35 book. It's like, that feels good. Even if you're not going to sell it or.
Well, that raises an interesting comment, because I saw that Comic Man Andy said, "Is it speculating if you never sell it?" What do you think about that, Alec?
Well, sure it is, because I certainly spec on books that I intend to keep in my personal collection. Because for me, and I don't know if this is jumping ahead, for me, a lot of the fun of speculating is figuring out what could be the next big thing. And I'm actually working on a video for kind of inspired by the videos Reggie's been doing about the top 5 X-Men books that you might want to look into buying. I'm doing that on a much deeper and more ridiculous level of it's going to be 5 books that probably will never increase in value, but just like really digging in deep and like looking at stuff and saying, oh, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens, or what if this book takes off? And if you find that book in a shop for $3 or $2 or in the dollar bin, and then next week it's a $10 book, you're probably not going to flip it. You just keep it for the satisfaction, knowing like it's like an award. Put on your wall.
Yeah,
like, hey, look what I did. I knew about this before everyone else.
Well, and I was going to jump to WhoDat to answer the same question. If you're not selling it, is it speculating? Because DS says if you're not doing it for money, then it's not speculating, it's collecting. And again, I feel like there's some interesting dividing lines between collecting or investing or speculating. Where do you fall on that?
At the end of the day, even if it's written in your will, unless it's really written in your will and they follow through, everything is going to get sold. Everything's like, you, John, you can say you're like me, we're going to pass it down to our daughters,
Sure.
So if they want to keep it, if they are into it a lot or stay into it, then they can, they might keep it but if they need to sell it for college, sell it for a wedding, different things, it still ends up being sold. Yeah, I might keep certain books in my collection. I want to keep even a lot of the books I've shown before. A lot of people seen. I've kept them for a long time, even though the price has gone up. X-Men 1, the price has gone up tremendously since I've gotten that book, like maybe triple. But I mean, it's something I want to keep longer because even then, they still haven't done it. Like I said before, Marvel hasn't done anything, or Disney hasn't done anything with this, a lot of stuff, and a lot of speculating people. For me, it's not. I would say it's not 100% speculating, but if they do come fruition, then it's great for me because I'm like White Will. So yeah, like look, I knew something was going to happen with this character, but
sure.
Do I have to sell it to be a speculator? No, because you can collect certain things and be speculating on it because a lot of stuff that I know we're going to touch on later, maybe later, but it's easy to find a lot of stuff to speculate on, especially currently, because you just got to see what they haven't done.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting line to divide where money comes in and motivation comes in. I think there's some really interesting comments on the chat about like anything in a dollar bin is not a spec. I think like where the money comes in is kind of an interesting side of this. Alec, where do you divide investing and collecting and speculating?
Well, as far as the dollar bin comment goes, like I have found, not recently, but I have found Eternal Warrior 4s in the dollar bin. And, now look at that book. So I think it's few and far between, certainly, but still, like, as far as what you were saying about collecting versus speculating, was that the question? Sorry.
Yeah. Like, because for me, like, the difference is like I don't sell very many books, right? So I use speculation to guide not necessarily like what I'm going to buy, but when I'm going to buy the book I want.
Sure.
Right? It's more like okay, I really want all of these books, but I think that one's going to heat up first, so I better buy it now or suffer later.
I think there's like a Venn diagram of the two things of speculation and collecting, and there is overlap. You can do either one without the other, but you can do both because you can collect like a run of some book that no one has ever and will ever care about. Like, I don't know,
Savage Dragon.
Deathlock. Or Turok. Watch Turok blow up tomorrow. And you just want every issue just because you like hunting for them and whatever. Or you can strictly spec and buy stuff to flip, and that is why you like buying comics. Or you can do some of both, Or you can also, I still say, like, you can collect spec books, and you can spec on books, and because maybe this is just me and I'm a greedy asshole, but when I'm flipping through my bin, no matter how much I like a book, it's more exciting to see a book and that it's worth $20 or $50, especially if I paid cover price for it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've heard several times. I mean, spec is fun. There's a fun to it, right? Like I found that book, or I picked it early, and now it's worth something. There's a fun to it.
Yeah.
So let's go like WhoDat. We talked a little bit about for collectors. Do you think speculation is bad for the comic book industry?
I don't think it's bad. At the end of the day, when you think of all the bad stuff for it, I don't think it's bad because it's getting a lot of new collectors in. It's getting a lot of new people in who sees like it's kind of fun to see, oh man, I found this book for cover price, but it's a $50 book, or I think it's fun for people at the end of the day. And some people sell it, to make profit. For people like me, when I think of those people and I do it for myself, it's more about, okay, if a book that I'm not interested in at all, yeah, I'm gonna sell it, but I'm gonna get a book I want. Right. So I think it's not. I think it's actually helping because, like, for a person like me who finds that a book, sells it, I end up putting it back into the industry. Buying another book. Lately, I haven't used any of really my own money to buy key books or stuff like that. I've used books either I sold on auctions or eBay or Instagram. So I think it helps more so than hurts. I mean, look at it. White Well got Bone. He got Bone #1.
That's straight spec.
Knights of Old dropped the definition of speculation into the chat, and there's several obviously definitions, but I think number 4 is probably the one we're talking about, which is the engagement in business transactions involving considerable risk, but offering the chance of large gains in the hope of profit from changes in a market price.
Yeah, and Baked a Snake says, it's fun when I pick it myself, not getting it off a list, which is kind of what I was saying at the beginning. And I know I keep showing this book, but this book that I brought on the hunt, that I own only 398 copies of, I spec'd hard on this, and if it pays off, I don't know that I'll even sell it, but it's sure going to feel satisfying, and I'm going to go back on the hunt, and I'm going to show it again, and I'm going to say, see, I told you so.
But you own 3, but the thing is, you own 3, and you could sell 2 and keep 1.
I could sell 1 and keep 2.
Yeah, or however how you want to do it,
Airboy the Barbarian says, spec isn't bad for the comic industry, mold is bad for the comic industry.
Hey, that's
Rusty Staples. But
yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, anything that gets people buying comics can't be that bad. Spec can, there's all this talk about the 90s and the crash but I think it's kind of been debunked that we live in a different era now, and there are different reasons behind why books are hot and why numbers are up, and like nothing's getting printed like X-Men 1 or
they're not. I don't know. Are they printing millions of copies of anything? Is
just
anything
just Major X?
Yeah. And there's so many other revenue streams now that even if for some reason bottom falls out of the collecting industry, which I don't see it happening, it's not going to kill the industry anymore. So anything that gets people in shops and gets people buying books, people are rebuying those books. So.
Well, and you're getting second prints and variant prints later on the line for some hot book that continue to sell. It's not just like, oh, that one book, Naomi 1 sold. Well, no, they were able to do several printings, and the spec kept that going. Like, it just kept printing.
Preaching Comics says, is there any time when spec is bad for retailers? I guess, like, when
one guy buys all the copies and
if like I complained the other day about a shop having a Reaver #1 on the wall the same week it came out for $15 because probably trying to stop people from buying their copies and putting them on eBay for $15 because that's what people do. So like in that regard, I guess you could look at it as a negative that someone else is profiting off the brick and mortar in a way, but I mean they're still making their money for the book that they bought.
But if they were smart, like I know my shop, if something gets that hot, they'll put a sign or it'll say 1 purchase per visit.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good about that. That's how I always find hot books on Fridays or Thursdays or even a week later.
Even I'll go so far as the shop I used to go to in Rhode Island, Cranston, called Time Capsule. Shout out Time Capsule. The owner, if it was a really hot book, he would pull them off the shelf and only sell them to subscribers.
And that for me feels like bad for the industry. Like when retailers are changing the way they are doing it to match the spec for a hot book, they find out, oh, this is going to be hot, and then they dramatically change the game so that the guy coming in the door, even at 9 a.m., the first guy coming in the door can't even get a book for cover price because it's rumored to be hot.
Yeah.
Right, but
it happened to a guy I know.
You know, he's looking out for his core people. He wants to make sure that just some schmuck's not going to come in there and wipe off the shelf so that when I come in at 1:30 because I have to go on my lunch break, that I can't get a copy.
Yeah, and I know that some shops are even doing the things where they say, okay, you're only allowed 1 copy of that book, per customer or something like that, to try to make that more effective for their whole customer base, not just that one guy who wants to clear out all the Marvel Captain Marvel 8s or whatever.
Yeah, but then you do what I do, and you take off my false beard, and you put on a fake mustache, you put on a false nose.
Clever.
Yeah, when you spec, you got to spec hard.
Go hard or go home.
Tony had the comment of the night for me. He said he called into work like Dante in Clerks. I'm not supposed to be here today. So I respect any Clerks humor I can respect. So I had a question concerning like the evolution of speculation in your eyes. So like WhoDat, in your view, how has speculation changed or evolved over the time that you've been collecting?
It's kind of hard. It's like different layers. Like it's changed because with the movies,
right,
and TV shows and options, and stuff that is even the stuff that's already been a movie, but since Disney owns something, hey, it might get re-announced. So that aspect has kind of changed. So like certain, not all books, but a lot of the new stuff, especially when stuff gets optioned, everybody's trying to find out what's the next Walking Dead. So that's the biggest thing. So
nothing will ever be.
So a lot of people are thinking, oh, this might, so like anything that gets optioned, they're running, trying to sell them immediately, which I get happy. Like when they announced, was it Farmhand? It's optioned for AMC.
Yeah,
and they're working on the first episode and everything. I have a ton of #1s. I think
everybody buy one, right?
Well, no, I actually got him into Rob Guillory and then he got into Farmhand. But it's like funny. I bought every cover I could find. Only one I didn't buy was the San Diego KomiKhan because I was like, I'm not paying $25 for it. I was like, I'll pay $10. So I was like buying every cover, exclusive cover. So when they announced it, I was happy and I showed a lot of my pictures to people. I was like, look, I got like every cover but one. And like, did I sell any? No, I could have sold, probably made, a good $25 or more on certain covers, but I still got them because I'm like, I would love to see it become the TV show. Then I'll think about it. But right now I'm like, I'm happy. At least I know I know this work and the guy's stuff that turned out well. So, that's just my thoughts of it.
Well, then, Alec, Sam brings up a comment that I think is something else. So we have the movie TV spec side, but then Sam says there's so much more information now with the internet. Do you feel like that's the bigger evolution, that social media allows for this like instantaneous like information jump, so that every Wednesday you're like, I already know the books to get?
Yeah, I mean, obviously back in the 90s and early 2000s when I was collecting, it was Wizard magazine, so you had to wait a month to find out what maybe the next hot book was. And maybe, in the early 2000s, the internet was around, so that started. But I don't really remember looking at too many spec sites back then.
But the biggest thing I think now is the internet wise is that key collector. Soon as I'm posted on there, eBay, it's gone.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I've watched it happen. Like, I'll get the notification. You go on eBay and you click every item, and then as soon as you click it, it's like, this item is sold. This item is sold. It's like, damn.
That happened to me last week. It was like Psylocke becoming the new, becoming Captain Marvel or something. It's today that she was going to be like on a TV show or something. They were saying, it's like, that's pretty cool. I said, let me see if I can find it. They had a whole bunch of them. Every time, you said, click on it, sold. Click on it, sold. You click on it, I can buy this one. You go through the process, sold.
Knights of Old said, be careful of FOMO.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it too, for sure. So
right, you don't want to be the person that doesn't get to post a copy of Captain Marvel 8 on Instagram on Wednesday.
I was happy not to be that person.
Yeah.
So, Alec, for you, how have you seen speculation change in the time you've been collecting?
Yeah, I mean, the big one is obviously the movies, right, and TV, because when I was growing up, there was speculation, but it was all based on internal to the comic books. Like, I look at Valiant, and a new villain would be out in Shadow Man 8 or Shadow Man 16 or whatever, and or Bloodshot came out in Eternal Warrior 4 or Rise Zero, and these books came out and it's like, oh, there's a new character. He could be big in the universe. Maybe people started specking on it and the price will go up. Whereas now that still happens to a point where certain titles like Immortal Hulk and Venom
they're hot because they're
hot because of the stories and because of the comics. But something like Farmhand, as good as it might be, no one cared about it until it got optioned, and now all of a sudden it's a $25 book, where before you could find it for cover price the week before.
I actually found it for cover price after the announcement.
Yeah. So it, that's a big difference, because something like it's way rarer for something like Die to catch fire because it's a great book than it is for something to catch fire because there's a rumor that maybe something could possibly be in one episode of a TV show.
Yeah, I totally agree. In the chat, somebody said, let's see, was it Knights of Old said FOMO is speculation or equals speculation. That idea that what drives speculation is the desire not to miss out on that book. Like you're saying, don't be the guy on Instagram who doesn't get to post his Captain Marvel 8. Do you think that that's like the primary element, like FOMO is pushing it?
Oh, absolutely. And I feel it. I didn't want Captain Marvel 8 until I saw that it was empty on the shelf. And I mean, I still don't. Now I'm over it. But like in the moment at the shop on Wednesday, I was like, oh, damn. Where's my copy? I got to track one down. And I was like, wait a minute. I hated this book. I don't want this. I don't care. So like I enjoy speculating, even if it's FOMO is fear of missing out, Old Wolf.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's an acronym, fear of missing out. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll spec on Little Bird and Paper Girls all day and buy as many copies as I can find because it's something I enjoy more than I get less enjoyment out of specking on something like just some random book out of a series that I'm not reading.
Which kind of, I think, brings to the topic what I wanted to get to sort of next. WhoDat, like, what are the benefits? What are the good sides of speculation? Like, what are the things for you, like personally for you? What do you feel like some of the benefits of speculation are?
Well, benefits is when you go out there and find something that I can't find it, sold out. You dollar bin or whatever. And you find something that's a good benefit to sell. It's not as hard as it to find that book. And another benefit is like because I have certain books I'm after. When you find that book that you can sell for a book that you want, that's a great benefit for me. I don't do it as much as I probably should.
Sure.
Because I have a lot of books, and I always usually wait, procrastinate. I hate dealing with eBay. Just starting on Instagram for selling stuff. I might posting stuff all the time.
Yeah.
For selling stuff. But that's the biggest benefit to me. It's like, oh man, it's like I like I sold the New Mutants 98. It's the 9.6. If it was a 9.8, I probably would have kept it. But it was a 9.6. Couldn't be pressed to get a 9.8.
Right.
So I sold it. Used that money to buy a little more older book, book that was hot at one point, that for a great price, and I didn't use any of my money. So that benefits me more so than anything. When I don't have to use my own money to buy a book I want, or it's on my list, or in my run, like everybody was posting this book. I'm gonna keep one because of the cover swipe. I bought two. So I bought two. Like, oh yeah, it's a $15 book, maybe. So I could probably use that $15 to buy a couple of my Ninja Turtles that I don't have.
So in my own defense, so I don't seem like a complete spec creep, I saw a stack of those on a shelf, and I didn't buy them.
Well, you see, but they had a stack of 8. They had a stack of 8 in my shop. You see how many I bought? Stack of 8. I bought one because I have Secret Wars 8. The other one, if I can sell it, okay.
Well, and I was the first one through the door on my shop for New Comic Book Day on Captain Marvel 8 Day or whatever it was that last week. And they had a whole stack of them, and I knew that it was the book because it's the internet age, everything's out there. But I went through the same thought process as Alec, which was like, I hated issue 1. Why am I going to buy a crap ton or even one of these when I really want to buy this book and I really want to read that book? And like, for me, like there's like a sort of triangle, right? Like the tip of the pyramid is, or the apex of the triangle is, I want to read this book. I like something about the story. The bottom two components are like, is it a good price? And will the price potentially go up, right? Now, a book that I buy that I really am passionate about ideally would hit all of the corners of that triangle, right? I don't want to buy a book just because it's a little bit low and it might go up. I want to like the book, right? I don't mind buying a book that won't go up and I like the book. But I don't want to just have the bottom of that triangle. That's not going to work for me.
Yeah. For me, like, to answer your question about what's good about speculation is it's fun. Like, for me, especially like when I do my research and I look into finding something, even if it never gets big or anything comes of it, just that fun of saying like, oh, I'm specking on this, and I saw something in this that is exciting, and I found a copy in a shop.
I picked it up. Right? I called it. I told you so. Right?
And
that's which for me feels like the yin and yang to FOMO. Right? You have the FOMO guy on one side. The other side is the guy who's like, "Yeah, I called it. I called it."
And while I am a reader and a pretty heavy reader, I've always been a collector first. So for me, owning a book is I hate to admit it, but more fun than reading a book a lot of times.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm a visual person, so like I love art. So a lot of times it's like you said, owning the book and looking at it more so than reading it. I read a lot of stuff that interests me, like but it's all about. I like to look at things and like to have them and display them if I when I can or show them off to friends of mine. So I'm the same way.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I was at a wedding on Sunday, or Saturday when Marvel did their San Diego KomiKhan announcement, and my phone blew up because most of my friends knew I was a big Jane Foster fan, and I had been slowly collecting the run, and they were all like pinging me basically on everything, and I was like, yeah, I felt the like other side of the coin, but at the same time I was like, no, I don't want these books to be worth $50. I was enjoying getting these books for $1. So there was like, I felt both sides of this sort of spec rush. Knights of Old says, I think speculating a book will rise in price at a certain percentages every year is bad for the comic market because bad expectation and disappointment. I'm trying to think, like, I understand that, like, I've seen several really savvy people, RB3's one guy I know who used to like do these really great economic analyses.
Yeah.
He used to show like year to year
books, yeah.
blue chip books, right? Your 181, like your ASM 300s, like the significant growth,
the cream of the crop.
Average. Yeah. But even those books aren't like nothing is guaranteed, obviously, but like certain things in that blue chip range are pretty consistent safe bets.
Yeah, even safe bets when the market kind of crashed. They didn't drop tremendously like oh man, this book I have to sell it 50% of what used to be worth 2 weeks ago. No, they might drop it down like 5%, but you're not gonna get a deal on an Amazing Fantasy 15.
Right.
It's never going down.
Even if the market crashed right now, and the market's doing so well right now and I'm not just talking about comic market, like the stock market is doing so well right now. We would have to go in a recession or a depression actually for it to be affordable for the regular Joe.
So I know you're the host of this show, John, but I want to ask you guys a question.
No, go for it. It's the fun of it. Yeah.
And this kind of ties in with the whole FOMO thing is, when you see a book spike in price dramatically and you don't have it, does it make you want it more?
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's part of that triangle, right? Like if it's a book that I already had a little bit of interest in, that's going to push me in the wrong direction. And what I use, like, so right now it's the What If Jane Foster book. I didn't care for it before. I like the character and I'm interested in the character, but that one was to a lesser degree for me because I like the Jason Aaron story. That book is now going ape crap, and I've got to decide, like, I don't want to get in on this book because I love the character, but I don't want to drop $100 on a book that I feel like is not representative of what I like about the character. Does that,
especially since in 3 years later it might be
well, that's the other concern. Sure.
But you kind of want it more now, don't you?
I do want it way more than I did before it went up. I was like, no, the book, and this is why I get on stupid shows and I'm like, dude, the book that goes up is the one I own, not the stupid one that other people own. My book is the good one. You guys don't own the good one.
I had the same thought about Tomb of Dracula 10 because I used to own one and a high grade one. And when they announced just the actor, now mind you, no director, no script, no date. He announced an actor who can, God forbid, could die tomorrow. So then, what's going to happen to your Tomb of Dracula 10? They didn't announce anything else with it, and that book flew off the roof. And I always had when I traded that book to get my Turtles 1 and my Journey to Mystery, because I traded those were part of the trade with the cash. I was like, I'm going to get that book back because I like the Blade movies when it came out. I like the character, the concept, and all this stuff. So I'm going to get it back. And I kept procrastinating because the prices actually were dropping. The prices were dropping. When I traded the book away, the prices were up. Right. And ever since I did it, the price will drop, and so I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wait. As soon as they make that announcement, now I want it even more because I already did want it.
Well, and but kind of what I used to tell myself in that moment is like right now the best example for me is like Molten Man, Hydro Man, right? Like everybody was freaking that those were going to be the book this summer. Those characters are going to be all over Spider-Man Far From Home. Everybody's going to want Hydro Man, Molten Man, and it's like, nope, those books are going back down again. They're cooling off big time. And
what got me the same way as that? What you're saying about the Molten Man, Hydro Man is the Inhumans, because the Inhumans movie we announced
the TV show.
Yeah, TV show. Now it's not gonna be a movie; it's gonna be a TV show. So I'm like, all right, let me pump the brakes. I love Marvel, and I love certain if it's a Marvel thing like that, I want it, and that I have to pump the brakes to remind me of that Inhumans, like just like you said with the Hydra Man, and so I got to pump the brakes because it could not get made, or it could get made 5 years from now.
What about you, Alec? Do you feel that motivation?
100%. That's why I asked the question. Not only with books that I had a vague interest in, but like books that I actively didn't care about. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh damn, I want that book. Especially if I had it in my hand or saw it at a shop when it came out.
I don't want to get like super creepy, but it reminds me of a quote from Silence of the Lambs where it's about how do we begin to covet? We covet what we see every day. And you're on the internet, right? You're looking at everybody's posts. There's another what if Jane Foster. There's another what if Jane Foster, right? You start.
Where's mine?
I'm seeing it every day. Now I want this.
Yeah. Caleb asked, how do you feel about Morbius' first appearance? I think any first appearance from that era is worth buying.
So Cobra asked an interesting comment. He said,
yeah, I saw that.
How about the other side of the coin? If you're a reader first and a collector second, but you're spec buying in order to flip and support your reading habit, I would argue and I commented, it's good strategy. Like there are definitely books that I try to buy books that fit my triangle pattern, but then that doesn't mean I won't sell them if they do go up so that I can buy a Grail book, like a really big book that I'm trying to save up for. So I've got the full run Alex Ross Immortal Hulk. If that can someday earn me a Daredevil 1 or even a Daredevil 7, which is the first red costume in a book that I've always wanted because I'm a Daredevil fan. If that earns me Daredevil 7, then it's totally worth it. And I'm not doing it to speculate. I'm doing it because I bought it because I really loved it and I like to complete runs of things. But I would have no qualms trading something like that.
Yeah, and Wednesdays are expensive, man. You can buy one book and sell it for $20 and then buy 3 or 4 more books from that. I don't see any difference. Like you're making money that you are going to spend anyway. Yeah, I mean it's the same thing. You're just putting money into something different.
And Bear Island commented, I just want cool stuff on my wall so I can impress John in off airs when he's showing me how to do basic YouTube things. And there is that element of like doing YouTube shows motivating you to be like, well, I need to have cool books to show people. And I want to have cool books on my wall. I know Thanatos mentioned several times this idea of like, well, I've got the books I always wanted. I don't really want to spend a ton more money every week on comics. But can I continue to do a YouTube show about comics if I don't?
Yeah. Read them online.
Share them all again.
Read them online and then collect the older stuff that you want. I mean, to talk about, you said something about buying stuff to purchase other stuff. I actually speculated. Well, this is a character I did want to collect for my daughter. And I like the character as well because of the history. So I speculated on because I knew it was coming on the TV show. People might not know what it is because it doesn't have a title on it. Then I end up rebuying it. But this book here, this Marvel premiere book, is number 21, and it's the first appearance of Misty Knight, first African-American Marvel hero.
That's cool.
I bought it, got it signed by the cover artist. And I ended up selling it on a YouTube auction. So actually somebody got an amazing deal. And I ended up buying this one because it was an old CGC slab, and this is the one I am keeping. She can do what she wants with it. It's a lot of history with the character, so that's something I kind of speculated on, but I got the ultimate goal of getting the upgrade. So, and I got this one well after the show was over. Well after the show, because I got it like literally this year.
Wow. So, Alex, sorry, go ahead. Did you have something you want to say? Did I interrupt you? Sorry. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the way that we're down to the end here, but one of the things I wanted to finish with was how has spec changed your strategies for collecting and what you do as a collector?
I mean, I definitely tend to, when I go to a new shop specifically, I tend to kind of pick the bins in two waves. I'll look for stuff that I want for myself, and then I'll look for stuff that I know maybe I can find a deal on and either flip or just flip or just be satisfied that I found it. I end up spending more time on that second phase because I keep thinking of things like, oh, what if this here? What if this here? What if this here? And it again, like, I'll be honest, I find a greater satisfaction in finding those things that maybe I don't even want at a deal than I do at finding the things that I do want.
Well, I mean, I went into a few shops with D-Runk when we were in San Diego, and both of us went straight to the Ninja Turtles in the new comics. Like a beeline. He's like, wait, what number is it? What 90 what? 90 what? And we're like flipping through. Like it was just an instinctual reaction.
Yeah,
that book's so hot.
Listen, there are few and far between collectors who fully stay away from spec, and more power to you. If that's not your thing and you don't want to do it, that's great. But I feel like even the people who say I don't spec, you fall into the trap.
Well, and yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Because it's fun, and it can pay off, and even if it doesn't, like, as long as you're not spending too much on the book, what are you really out? Like, if you're speccing on 9.8 slabs from the 60s, that's a lot different than if you're speccing on a book that comes out on a Wednesday.
Well, and Knights of Old makes the comment, you need to pay attention to that kind of stuff so that you don't end up buying at the wrong time for the wrong price. And that's like my what if Jane Foster right now. Like, I might not want that book, and in 6 months I can make that decision, but I don't want to buy it now. That would be the horribly wrong time to buy it. And I kid you not, after that news, not only did I have a whole bunch of people telling me, hey, did you hear? I had a whole bunch of other people who had scoured my collection of stuff, and they were sending me, hey, I got the whole run for $200. Do you want it? $200. Do you want? I'll say the whole run. Like, people legitimately, complete strangers, like DMing me on Instagram to sell me entire Jane Foster runs, as if I had been paging the world to ask for them.
just sliding into your DMs.
I did feel like a teenage girl for a little bit. Wasn't. So
I could tell you. I was gonna say, I could tell you what changed me for the speculating thing.
Yeah.
Because I like Marvel and I collect a lot of Silver Age, even Bronze Age, stuff like that. I try to get a lot of first appearance or even second appearance, whatever have you. But if it's what changed me is the movies and stuff like that. So I try to look at characters that haven't been introduced, or even characters that have been introduced but are over with and their price has gone down. So when the time I go to a new shop or something, I'm looking at the older stuff. I say, oh, let me see what they have, because I like Spider-Man, I like X-Men, I like those Marvel stuff. So I'm like, if I see something like, oh man, they got Amazing Spider-Man 20. Yeah, they kind of said something about Scorpion in the first movie, but they really haven't shown him. Might want to get that now before they actually do go full out, something. Or let me get Kraven, because Kraven, there are a lot of hotness about Kraven, but they haven't announced anything. So like, I do a lot of that. I try to get ahead of the stuff before Because a lot of those characters I do want, a lot of the stuff I do want, but I want to get it before they announce something. Then the speculation is crazy, and then I have to wait longer, or
And it's even getting to like that other level where we've seen things like, people, Captain America picking up Thor's hammer, or Iron Man wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, like moments in stories that people are specking on instead of first appearances, and these weird things that were notable before but weren't really considered key issues all of a sudden now.
I would say they're cool before, like you said, that's pretty cool. Thor, he picked up Thor's hammer. He got that. That's pretty cool. Like, it's not, but now like the movie made it like ridiculous. So I try to,
And my favorite, or should I say, my favorite example, or my least favorite example of that is the Ant-Man on the Arrow, the Hawkeye. That happens in Civil War, and then that book with him on the cover spikes for like one little half-second moment. And now that book is back to being normal again. It's not like that book had this incredible staying power. Oh, Hawkeye had an arrow and Ant-Man was on it. Like that book was crazy hot for no good reason except for like 5 seconds in the movie.
And for a trailer.
Yeah, exactly. I see that book all the time, and people are still trying to get it for like $30. And it's like, that's not a $30 book, man.
It is if someone buys it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Hey, don't talk bad about Ant-Man, John. I dig me some Ant-Man. I'm saying that book is stupid priced. If somebody wants to sell that for $30, don't buy it. That's my opinion. I'm going to get out of here because in 20 minutes or so, about 30 minutes, Alec is going to be back on here with the Story Comic Core. I want to give him time to prep his show and get his guys in the chat. I really want to thank WhoDat and Alec for coming along, because I don't do this show every week or anything. It's a lot to put together and think about, and everybody's got other shows to be working on. But I appreciate you guys taking the time. WhoDat, do you have any auctions coming up? He is an auction fiend. What's coming up for you?
I don't think so, because Google Hangouts is ending, so people are trying to transition to what we're going to do next. But it looks like the idea is that StreamYard, everybody's like kind of loving the easy, how it runs really easy, how everything goes with it. People might test it out. I think I'm going to test it out with a couple guys to see how it runs on my channel. So you might see that maybe next week. You might see it next week. Just get a couple guys, let's test it out, let's see how it runs auction wise. But I definitely want to do some more movie reviews, because they got what's called Hobbs and Shaw coming out. So I definitely want to see that. I wanted to just talk about Lion King, but I don't want to ruffle too many feathers about that. So I don't know.
Hey, they can't all be positive reviews.
They can't all be positive.
They can't all be good books, right?
Well, yeah. So what I might do is actually do Aladdin, Lion King. What's my thoughts of seeing them again? I'm gonna watch them again and say what I liked about both, and kind of what I didn't like about the other two. So I'm gonna try to do some more of those, because I've been watching a lot of movies. I just haven't been doing a review for them. I like doing. I'm gonna try to do more with my daughter. So a lot more kids reviews. Get her thoughts, because as they get older, and John will tell you, they have more. The vocabulary gets better. They have more insight, and they tell you a lot more details than you expect. So she's getting at that age at 4 doing it.
Spider-Man review my girls did. I just gave them the phone, and they just went off and shot their video, and then I just had to edit it.
And I actually want to do a review for her for that, because Into the Spider-Verse, when she first saw it, she fell asleep in the middle of the movie. She's seen it on Netflix and has watched it probably, I want to say at the minimum 10 times already. So she likes, I think she likes the music and the visual effects. So I'm going to get her to talk about it. Actually, what's your favorite parts of the movie? Because she's watching so much now that she has to have ideas. So you're going to see more of that. Probably going to talk about some books that I actually read. So I got like House of X, Power X. I'm going to be reading all that stuff. So very into that. So I got a lot of stuff going on, but so just be on the lookout for that.
And the link to his channel is in the description below, so you can find WhoDat there, and he's on Instagram as well, so you can check in with him there as well. WhoDat Comics and Movies. Alec just hit 1,000 subscribers. He is now officially monetized. Make money, money, make money, money. Great Comic Core tonight. He is hosting the book club on Wednesday night, and you can drop your first official money. You can throw money at him like a stripper on a pole.
Yeah, just a reminder about that. Super chats during book club are going to be donated, but also remember, Google takes 30% of that money,
which is ridiculous. Yeah.
So if you would prefer to just take the money and donate it yourself, I will not be mad at you. But if you feel like super chatting us, know that it's not going in our grubby pockets.
Bear Highland says Alec is monetized. Time to turn on the charisma.
Yeah. I messaged Reggie when I got my email, and he's like, "Oh, now you can retire." I said, "I'm already at the Bentley dealership."
And I think you said you had an unboxing
and
to do.
Wait a minute.
What?
You said time to turn on the charisma?
Yeah, not saying you already had it. He said now it's time to turn it on. I read that too, and I was just like, wait.
Interesting.
But you've got an unboxing coming up. You got the show on Wednesday. Anything else coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to try to put together that X-Men video tomorrow, and or artist review series videos, and or some other pre-made videos I want to do. And I want to try doing more with those. When I start pre-shooting videos, I want to try to do more premieres. I did that once. It was really fun. It's kind of like the best of both worlds because you still get the interaction with the chat, but you get to edit a video. So keep an eye out. Hopefully I'll be dropping something tomorrow.
Awesome. So for those that don't know me, I'm going to drop a little hello in the chat real quick because I don't have my link on this video. I'm John's Comics with Kids. I dropped my link to my subscriber video on Instagram. You can follow my name to my channel. So I have a 700 subscriber contest on right now through the end of August. I've also got tomorrow night, I'm going to be on with the boy who had 7. He's doing a little 1,000 subscriber Adios to Hangouts event. So I'll be on with him tomorrow night. You should definitely sub up the boy who had 7 and check out all his cool content. And then Wednesday, I have the Comic Core at 7 o'clock and then book club at 8 o'clock. These are Pacific times. So I'll be there hanging out. And then I've got a new show, hopefully dropping this weekend with some buddies, Perry Comics and Fire Guy Ryan. We're going to be talking some movies because clearly, as we learned on Friday night last weekend, Perry needs some educating when it comes to movies. So we got a movie show hopefully dropping on next Sunday night. But that's it for me.
And I once I figure out, I know I've had months to think about it, but once I figure out what I'm going to do for 1,000 subscriber contest, I'm going to do that too. So keep an eye out. I'll do something. I just that's it. I want to do something good. I don't want to just phone it in like John.
Wow.
Okay, good night. Bye. See you in a bit.
Yeah, so good night. Thank you for subbing up and checking out the Comic Core. Hit the notification bell because every single night of the week, the Comic Core is dropping live streams, and you want to be there for all the fun content. I really appreciate everybody coming by. Leave a comment below if there's a topic you want for us to cover on the list. I have a feeling we've just scratched the surface on speculation, and we might end up doing this topic again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.